Hey guys, LevelCap here, and I think it goes without saying that 2020 has been an absolutely crazy year. Most of us have had to change many things about our day-to-day lives and what we do to combat the pandemic, and also the gaming year has been totally insane, and I thought it would be cool to go back over some of the top gaming stories. And why don't we kick things off with one of the biggest mysteries of 2020. Twitch banned Dr. Disrespect on June 26th. The doc himself couldn't say why, and esports insider Slasher hasn't even dared to reveal the details. This was a wild turn of events. Despite getting into trouble in the past with Twitch, the doc was easily one of their biggest and most successful partners. When top streamers like Shroud and Ninja left Twitch for Mixer, the doc stayed with Twitch. So the ban came as a shock to everyone, including the doc himself. Since that ban, Dr. Disrespect has started streaming on YouTube. While some of his sponsors dropped him because of the ban, it's pretty clear the doc's speed, violence, and momentum shows no signs of slowing down. And really at this point, it's impossible to say if we'll ever truly know why Twitch banned one of their most successful streamers for a reason that nobody is willing to disclose. 2020 was also a shocking year for Battlefield players. Despite the whole TTK 2.0 controversy that capped 2019, the Pacific update finally set Battlefield 5 on a path that I think everybody was happy about. Players were excited about what 2020 had in store for the game. DICE seemed eager to develop more content and keep polishing the game. Some major updates like a community game overhaul was on the horizon, and then DICE announced in April that they would be dropping support for Battlefield 5 after the game's final content update in the summer. It was a huge shock to the system seeing a game that DICE lauded as their first live service game getting canned before the live service got going. But it seemed like they stopped developing new content for a good reason. Star Wars Battlefront 2, DICE's other big live service game, also got the axe before the summer. According to the studio, it said they could go all in on Battlefield 2021. DICE rushed both Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5 to the market. More recently, EA confirmed that they gave DICE an extra year to work on the next Battlefield game. Hopefully having all hands being on deck and having an additional year to work on Battlefield 6 means that we'll get a polished, complete experience out of the gate. And of course, it won't be all hands back on deck as 2020 has seen a massive loss of key and core developers for the game that have worked on the Battlefield franchise for many, many years. Just last month, DICE released the long-awaited community games overhaul for Battlefield 5 and officially put the game on life support. But that update introduced a massive Easter egg. Players spent days decoding clues, perfecting strategies, and building a staircase to heaven. At the top, they were rewarded with a remix of all Battlefield themes smashed together and a skin that alludes to a location in Kazakhstan. Considering console-exclusive Battlefield 2 Modern Combat is set in Kazakhstan, many players take the hint as a sign that Battlefield 6 will feature the country as a key location. As if massive Easter eggs and teasers weren't enough, the Battlefield community also pulled off an incredible feat this year. Venice Unleashed, the long-awaited mod tools for Battlefield 3, launched this month. The tools offer some remarkable features like a full map editor, toggles for suppression, high-tech rate servers, alternative modes, total conversions, and much more. These tools basically make it so that if you can dream it, you can do it in Battlefield 3. And in our final bit of 2020 Battlefield news, EA put DICE LA in the hands of Call of Duty veteran and current Respawn head Vince Zampella. DICE LA has historically worked in tandem with DICE's Sweden offices to create DLC content and more for Battlefield games. They were instrumental in fixing Battlefield 4's launch problems and are often lauded as the franchise's unsung heroes. The change in leadership might mean DICE LA won't be working on Battlefield anymore, but it could also mean we get some incredible original titles out of the studio. If there's one thing 2020 has been synonymous with, it's massive hardware launches. This year was a who's who of next-gen hardware. Microsoft and Sony both launched cutting-edge consoles that offer 4K gaming at 120 FPS. Nvidia and AMD both launched insanely powerful GPUs with enhanced support for ray tracing and AI acceleration. AMD also launched a new generation of Ryzen CPUs that dominated Intel in both gaming and productivity performance, which hasn't happened in like 10 years. In a nutshell, if you were looking to upgrade your PC or buy a new game console this year, you had a plethora of incredible choices. Of course, things are not that simple. Thanks to supply shortages caused by the pandemic, every major retailer and hardware company in the world failed to meet demand. Getting a new console or GPU in 2020 has proven to be an effort in futility at best. Many people turn to eBay hoping to score used parts or deals on new hardware. Unfortunately, 2020 was also the year of the scalper. On top of scooping up all the available hardware using bots, scalpers jack prices sky high for resold goods. Want a new $500 GPU? Well, expect to pay $900 for it on eBay. 2020 also saw a ton of major acquisitions. Several of them were for hundreds of millions of dollars, but none of them stand out quite like Microsoft buying ZeniMax, the parent company of Bethesda, id, Machine Games, Arcane, and more. The deal was valued at $7.5 billion, making it one of the largest single buyouts in 2020 and maybe the biggest in gaming history. It also gives Microsoft full control of some of the biggest franchises in gaming. Fallout, Doom, Elder Scrolls, Wolfenstein, Quake, you name it. Throwing in Microsoft's other big franchises like Halo, Gears of War, Minecraft, Microsoft Flight Sim, etc., and it becomes clear that Microsoft is now second to none when it comes to game publishers. To sweeten the deal, gamers can buy Microsoft's Game Pass and get access to all of these games for a low monthly fee. The ripple effects of Microsoft buying ZeniMax will likely transform the future of gaming as we know it. Of course, no game crashed and burned more spectacularly this year than Cyberpunk 2077. The game was hyped up for 7 years, delayed multiple times, and finally launched surrounded by reports of bugs and poor treatment for the developers. And while the game underneath all the bugs and problems is clearly an incredible accomplishment, looking past those issues, especially on last-gen consoles, is, well, pretty much impossible. The situation is so bad that Sony pulled the game from the PlayStation Store, and Microsoft is offering refunds, no questions asked. The developers are now facing a somewhat dubious lawsuit by at least one investor who claims the botched launch and failure to disclose the state of the game hurt their return on investment. Despite all of that, the game made back its production and marketing costs on pre-orders alone and has already sold 13 million units. EA also found themselves in hot water this year. Thanks to FIFA's loot boxes, a Netherlands court ruled FIFA violated the country's gambling laws and that EA would have to pay a hefty $12 million fine. On top of that, the court has also authorized a fine for EA of $614,000 every week the loot packs remain available in FIFA. EA filed appeals against these rulings, so it's unclear if they'll ultimately pay these fines. It's sure to be a messy legal battle that goes on for quite some time. Of course, no legal battle in gaming this year quite compares to the Apple versus Epic battle over Fortnite. In August, Apple banned the world's biggest battle royale game after the developers added a microtransaction system that bypasses the iOS App Store's payment system, thereby getting around Apple's 30% cut of sales. While Epic anticipated the ban and prepared an entire marketing plan and lawsuit in advance, it seems unlikely that Apple will budge anytime soon. Epic tried to garner support for their cause with ads targeting Apple and calling for them to hashtag free Fortnite. But that public appeal may have backfired or at least not had the intended effect. Many news outlets and gamers alike view the whole debacle as two ultra-wealthy companies complaining about how much more profit they can make off of each other. There are, of course, some big implications tied up in the legal battle. While Epic is likely just doing all of this to get around Apple's cut of sales, their argument that Apple's strict rules and mandatory fees hurt smaller developers is also very true. To their credit, it seems like the whole free Fortnite thing at least encouraged Apple to reduce some of their fees. Just don't expect Fortnite to show up on the iOS App Store anytime soon. Now, this final story I picked from 2020 really sent a shockwave through the esports scene. The CSGO coaching bug scandal has put the integrity of every pro match played in the past 3 years into question. That includes multi-million-dollar tournaments, countless matches, hundreds of players, and dozens of coaches. The coach bug allowed coaches for pro CSGO teams to freely spectate areas of every map during a match. This likely had a dramatic impact on the outcomes of hundreds, if not thousands, of matches, given its widespread abuse. So far, 37 coaches have been banned, and 2021 will likely see sweeping changes to coaching by Valve. Really though, the scandal's impact runs way deeper than just coaches and some matches having a different outcome. This bug was in games for years. It was a known issue that multiple coaches had reported. For it to be a problem for so long and compromise so many matches is really insane. It draws into question the integrity of every pro match ever played in CSGO history and is a dark cloud hanging over the game's future as a competitive title. Overall, 2020 has been a rough year for many of us, and gaming seems to have become much more the opiate of the masses than it previously was. The rise of Fall Guys and Among Us ushered in a new age of community-focused games that bring people together for a fun time. Some of the biggest titles in gaming history saw landmark releases like Doom Eternal, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, Half-Life Alyx, Microsoft Flight Sim, and the Halo Master Chief Collection. Some of these games were so unexpected or incredible that it's still mind-blowing to think that they're even real. It's truly been an incredibly trying year for everyone, but despite it all, we still got some of the best experiences and titles in gaming history. And for me, it's been very interesting transitioning this channel into primarily gaming news. I know many of you signed up for different content than this, and for those of you that have stuck around for a transition into mostly news content, I thank you for your support and I hope you're enjoying the content. Hopefully 2021 will be an excellent year for gaming. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.